Balsa wood crankbaits. What are they and should you use them, especially when fishing a pond? What's going on, guys? My name is Jeremy. You might know me from Fishing Lone Star, but today I'm on the Monster Bass YouTube channel and we're throwing some balsa wood crankbaits, specifically from Bagley. Now, I recently got this in a Monster Bass box, and a lot of people will shy away from throwing a crankbait in a pond. However, I'm going to talk to you today and show you today a couple of tips and techniques on why I would throw this in a pond. I'm going to throw it in a pond and hopefully we'll catch some fish. Now, I personally have never fished this pond. I don't know if there's fish in it or not. I presume there are. I think there are, but I've never fished this before, so it's not like I'm taking you to my local hunting hole. This is just a neighborhood pond in my neighborhood. We're going to try to fish it. We're going to try to catch some fish. I'm going to show you some tips about the retrieval for a balsa wood crankbait, or just a crankbait in general when you're pond fishing, to help you hopefully not get hung up and hopefully catch some fish. Let's go. All right, so real quick, let's just talk about crankbaits in general for anyone who might be relatively new to them. Normally you want to reel faster when you get closer to the bank. In this particular case, you want to reel slower. The reason why is because the bill on the front of that crankbait allows it to dive down. Now, the faster you reel, the faster it's going to dive, which you may get hung up in a pond or when bank fishing. So in this particular case, you're going to reel a little bit slower when you get closer to the bank. I have no idea how deep this pond is. This one dives about 2 to 4 feet. I like the fact that it mimics a little bit of shad, but it also could mimic a bluegill with a little bit of that orange on the bottom, but I believe this is more of a shad profile. So we're going to give it a go. I'm using 12-pound fluorocarbon, but just keep in mind that when you're pond fishing, the faster you reel, the quicker it's going to dive. The slower you reel, the more it's going to stay top of the water column. Now, I will also say, when you stop retrieving a crankbait, it will float backwards. All right, so normally when you hit something, your tendency is to rip up or to yank up. That's not the case with these. The crankbait, when you hit something or it dives down the bottom, you want to stop and let it float back up. So all that being said, let's see if we can catch some fish. One thing too that's good about balsa wood is it's got a tighter wobble and a tighter action. As I stop reeling as well, the floating action in a balsa wood crankbait is also, it floats a lot faster than a traditional plastic crankbait. So when I stop reeling, for example, this one's going to float pretty quickly up to the top of the water. So you'll notice a lot of starting and stopping in my reeling. That's just so I can keep that crankbait a little bit higher without digging in the bottom and potentially getting hung up and lost. So you'll notice just as I stopped right there, the crankbait's already back up to the top. And as soon as I start retrieving again, it's got a pretty tight wobble and action to it. So that's a couple of tips on why, again, you should use a balsa wood for a pond like this. Oh, there's one. Yeah, he's still on. There's a fish. All right. There's a decent fish. Now, anytime you're fishing with a crankbait, always bring your trusty pliers. But you'll see that one caught him right in the corner of the mouth. Decent little fish. Hopefully we can upgrade and catch a big one. But first fish at this pond. Decent little guy for a pond fish. We'll get him back in the water, see if we can catch some more. Now, this is a 7.5 to 1 reel, so I'm reeling a decent speed. I'm having to actually remind myself to slow down just a little bit. It's got a tight wobble. We had a full moon last night. Can't imagine there's going to be just a ton of activity. You'll see pretty calm, slick waters. So I'm not really just burning this crankbait. I'm not reeling it fast. I'm reeling it pretty darn slow, and just trying to get a reaction bite, something to kind of bring right over the fish's head, help them come up and react to it, as that one did just then. So nice little first fish. In terms of the rod I'm using, this is actually a glass rod. You don't necessarily need a glass rod. Just your normal composite rod will work. The main thing is just make sure that it's on the lighter end. So you want something that's got some give to it, like a moderate action, and probably like a medium power. You just don't want something heavy and stiff. You're not going to get a good casting distance because you're not going to get much flex and bend out of your rod. But on the other hand, you're also you don't want to have something that's too hard because you're fishing with small little treble hooks. So you want something that's on the lighter end, for castability, but more importantly for hook setting. You want to be able to lean into your hook sets, not necessarily rip them. or jack them, because if you do with a crankbait, you're just going to rip those treble hooks right out of their mouth. Oh, there's one right there. Another little guy. But I just paused that really quickly and he came up and ate it right after I paused it. Started to retrieve again. He came up and ate it. That tells me they're kind of probably chasing some bait up shallow and kind of crashing on some of the smaller bait. All right, going the wrong direction on size when you get bigger. So let's see if we can upgrade from that. Oh, there's one. There's one. That one feels a little bit better. Oh, that's because I side hooked him. I was like, why is he spiraling? Because I got him side hooked. He couldn't swim. Whew. All right, luckily that one popped off. It did not hook me though. But that's 3. All right, that one came a little bit deeper out in the middle. Came up and ate it just on a regular retrieve. So I'm trying to put together a pattern and figure out if they're shallow or out deeper. And I don't know. I think they're somewhere in the middle. All right, I suspect though there's still bigger fish in here, so let's keep at it. Now I'm obviously using a bait caster here by Luz. This is the Hyper Mag. It's more of a high-end bait caster, so I'm having success throwing a little bit lighter crankbait since this one is meant to run so shallow, the Bagley Sunny B. But since I'm throwing a little bit lighter crankbait, I'm using a bait caster that is very high tune in terms of breaking. I would suggest if you're a little bit newer to fishing that you use more of a spinning reel, but the reel doesn't matter as much. Just know that this is a little bit of a lighter lure, so you may want to adjust your brakes accordingly. There's one. All right. Someone right at me. That one's got a little bit more meat to it. All right, he came off on his own. We're gonna just let him get right back in the water. There he goes. All right, I believe that's 4 fish now. There's one. All right, fish number 5. All right, there's a better one. Just had to move down a little bit. All right, there's a little bit better fish on the Bagley Sunny B. Still not a giant by any means, not a PB, but definitely one that's a little bit bulkier, definitely been eating. And so I think that's number 6 or 7, but man, this is a lot of fun throwing this Bagley shallow diving Sunny B. Catching them out here, this is awesome. All right guys, that's gonna be a wrap out here for us throwing the little Bagley Sunny B shallow. Shout out to Monster Bass for including it in this month's Platinum box. If you're not subscribed to the Platinum box, you should be, because you're going to get awesome baits like this coming to you at appropriate times of the year, so you can go out to your local body of water and catch some fish. First time I've ever used it, first time I've ever fished this body of water, caught 5 or 6 fish, didn't get skunked. This was a fun little morning, fun little bait, and I'm going to plan on catching some more this summer with it. Also, make sure you're subscribed right here to the Monster Bass channel, because we're going to bring you lots more videos to help you go out and catch more fish and bigger fish with maybe even some new baits you've never tried before. So check out the Monster Bass channel. Make sure you subscribe right here to Monster Bass.